It's 1947, and the frozen expanse of Antarctica erupts into unimaginable chaos. Admiral Richard Byrd's formidable armada, 13 warships, 4,700 men, and swarms of aircraft slices through the unrelenting ice, their mission shrouded in the guise of scientific exploration. But then, without warning, the sky comes alive with horror. Disc-shaped objects, gleaming like ethereal phantoms, streak from the clouds, defying every law of physics with maneuvers that twist reality itself. Bursts of searing energy lash out, crippling American planes in mid-flight, their pilots screaming into radios about impossible speeds, and vanishing crafts that plunge into the ice like specters swallowed by the abyss. Ships shudder under invisible assaults, hulls groaning as if squeezed by unseen forces, forcing the mightiest expedition ever assembled in the polar south to retreat in disarray, weeks ahead of schedule, with unexplained casualties and a blanket of secrecy descending thicker than the eternal blizzard. What unleashed this fury? Remnants of a fallen regime wielding forbidden weapons from the shadows? Guardians of an ancient realm, jealous of intruders? Or entities not of this world, lurking beneath the frozen veil, their motives as inscrutable as the endless white horizon? What if these skies conceal a war beyond our world, a conflict etched into the ice for millennia, waiting for the thaw to reveal its victors? The questions pull at the mind like magnetic poles, urging us to peer deeper into the enigma that has haunted explorers and scholars alike. And as we embark on this chilling voyage together, good evening, dear listeners, and welcome to Mystery History for Sleep. I am Mr. H, your guide through the veiled whispers of the past, where forgotten truths hum in the quiet hours before slumber. If these tales ignite your curiosity as they do mine, consider subscribing to the channel. It's where we keep the mysteries alive, one echoed story at a time, and turn on that notification bell for a gentle nudge when new episodes emerge from the shadows. Now, let us drift back to that fateful expedition, peeling away the layers of silence that have cloaked it for decades. The operation, codenamed Highjump, was no mere mapping exercise. Whispers from declassified documents suggest a far more clandestine purpose. Byrd, a seasoned polar veteran, led what amounted to a naval invasion, equipped with the latest wartime technology, ostensibly to test equipment in extreme conditions and claim territory amid rising Cold War tensions. Yet, leaked logs and survivor accounts paint a picture of confrontation with forces that transcended human engineering. Pilots reported craft emerging from beneath the ice, rising with a silent grace that mocked gravity, their surfaces shimmering as if woven from the aurora itself. One radio transmission, buried in archives until recent scrutiny, described a lush valley beyond the expected barren wastes, teeming with life and advanced structures that hummed with an otherworldly rhythm. Byrd himself, in a rare interview upon return, spoke cryptically of enemies capable of traversing from pole to pole at incredible speeds, his words laced with a caution that hinted at knowledge too perilous to share outright. Could this have been the remnants of Nazi ingenuity, their infamous Base 211, a subterranean fortress in New Swabia, claimed during the 1938 expedition aboard the Schwabenland? Theories abound that Hitler's occult-obsessed regime, influenced by Thule Society mystics, sought Aryan origins in polar legends, establishing redoubts powered by geothermal vents and experimental devices like Die Glocke, a bell-shaped contraption said to warp time and space through mercury vortex engines. The plot thickens with post-war anomalies, U-boats, U-530, and U-977 surrendering in Argentina, months after victory in Europe, their crews tight-lipped about southern voyages that may have ferried high-ranking officials or esoteric artifacts to hidden havens. Hungarian exile Ladislas Chabot's 1947 book fueled the fire, claiming Neuschwabenland as a thriving Nazi enclave, complete with flying saucers derived from ancient Vril energy texts. And then, in 1958, Operation Argus detonated 3 nuclear blasts over the South Atlantic, officially atmospheric tests, but theorists posit they targeted Antarctic entrances to seal off threats from below. These threads weave a tapestry of forbidden history, where the ice sheet serves not as a barrier, but as a vault, guarding alliances or artifacts that could upend our understanding of power. Subtle influences linger in the corridors of authority, where certain files remain redacted, suggesting structures of control that prefer such enigmas buried, their revelations a threat to the established order. Fast forward to our present moment in 2025, and the enigma deepens with revelations that echo those distant battles. Just this June, scientists at a cosmic particle detector in Antarctica reported anomalous radio signals pulsing from beneath the ice, defying known physics with rhythms that suggest intelligent origin, perhaps echoes of long-buried machines or communications from concealed realms. Outlets like CNN have dubbed them strange signals that seem to bend the rules of particle behavior, sparking debates among physicists who whisper of non-human sources. Earlier, in March, a massive iceberg the size of Chicago, named 8-4, detached from the George VI ice shelf, unveiling thriving ecosystems in its wake. Giant sea spiders, icefish, and octopuses flourishing in waters once thought sterile, as detailed in reports from Euronews and the Schmidt Ocean Institute. These discoveries hint at subglacial worlds teeming with life, pockets of warmth and liquid water sustained by geothermal pulses, where extremophiles thrive in conditions that mirror ancient, temperate eras. July brought further intrigue, with a study published in phys.org uncovering ancient river landscapes beneath the East Antarctic ice sheet, reshaping our models of ice flow and signaling new risks from accelerating meltwater. These buried channels, etched from a greener past, align eerily with the Piri Reis map, a 16th century relic compiled by Ottoman Admiral Haji Ahmed Muhyiddin Piri from sources dating back to Alexander the Great. Discovered in 1929 in Istanbul's Topkapi Palace, this gazelle skin fragment depicts Antarctica's coasts with uncanny accuracy, sans its ice cap, revealing bays, rivers, and mountains that match modern seismic scans from the 1960s. Piri's annotations speak of ancient times, before it was covered by ice, raising the impossible. How did cartographers centuries ago chart a fertile land hidden for millions of years? Ultraviolet analysis reveals anomalous ink in those sections, glowing faintly green with elements foreign to Ottoman origins, suggesting recycled vellum from even older maps, palimpsests of lost knowledge smuggled from Alexandria's conquered libraries. This map fuels the timeless legend of Atlantis, Plato's sunken utopia from 360 before Common Era, described in Timaeus and Critias as an advanced empire vanishing 9,000 years prior in cataclysms of flood and quake. Modern voices like Graham Hancock propose it centered on Antarctica during the last ice age, displaced by a crustal shift around 12,000 years ago, dragging the continent into eternal freeze. This aligns with the Younger Dryas, a sudden cold snap ending the ice age, mirrored in global myths from Noah's Ark to Sumerian epics. Satellite data from NASA's GRACE missions bolsters this, revealing pyramid-like formations in the Ellsworth Mountains, over 2,000 feet tall, their symmetries too precise for natural erosion alone. 2016's Google Earth frenzy labeled them nunataks, but cardinal alignments echo Giza's plateau, and 2025's refined imaging adds layers, subtle spirals etched into rock faces, symbols recurring in ancient sites from Irish dolmens to Ethiopian pillars, perhaps codes for Atlantean technology. Whispers of extraterrestrial involvement add another veil of mystery. Crop circle formations in recent years, particularly those mirroring Antarctic anomalies, appear as intricate patterns in fields worldwide, their geometries echoing the radio pulses detected this June. Theorists speculate these as messages or maps from beyond, aligning with ancient astronaut ideas where beings seeded civilizations, their interventions etched into polar lore. Vatican archives, long rumored to hoard such texts, might conceal pacts or evidence of these visitors, guarded by orders that view such knowledge as forbidden, lest it unravel the fabric of accepted history. Elite lineages, tracing back through shadowed histories, are said to covet this wisdom, their influences subtly steering explorations away from revelations that could democratize power derived from antediluvian sources. Greenland's parallel enigmas amplify the polar puzzle. In July 2025, Nature Geoscience detailed a subglacial flood bursting upward through nearly 90 meters of ice, uprooting blocks up to 25 meters high and reshaping the surface from below. This cataclysm, captured by ESA satellites, exposed pressurized lakes sealed for millennia, their waters surging with geothermal heat. Earlier anomalies, like the 2-kilometer-wide void near Summit Station filled with compressed air and sediment, too symmetrical for erosion, align with 17th-century Dutch almanacs depicting hollows marked by tuning fork glyphs. Inuit elders speak of silent mouths, where sound vanishes, zones perhaps engineered to mask deeper activities, while 2025's Yale Climate Connections reports enormous cracks forming as meltwater accelerates flow, pulling the ice sheet apart like a veil tearing. These discoveries in 2025, from thriving subglacial ecosystems to ancient riverbeds, suggest the poles as living archives, pulsing with memories of warmer worlds. Hyperborea, the Greek myth of a northern paradise beyond the north wind, bathed in eternal sunlight, might root in Greenland's pre-glacial past, when it bridged continents with verdant bridges. Norse maps from the 15th century depict rivers and forests matching these buried features, their details perhaps inherited from survivors of cataclysms. Yet, official narratives downplay these, with data classified under pretexts of security, hinting at structures that prefer the past obscured, their control reliant on fragmented knowledge. As the auroras fade and the ice whispers on, one can't help but ponder the guardians of these secrets, be they remnants of regimes, celestial visitors, or unseen elites who ensure the enigma endures. The polar enigma, unleashed in 1947, reignited in 2025, beckons us to listen closer, for in its depths may lie the key to realities we've been conditioned to ignore, a symphony of the forbidden waiting for those bold enough to hear its call. Antarctica, that vast, frozen enigma at the edge of the world, is stirring as if roused from an ancient slumber. Beneath its mile-thick ice sheet, secrets long sealed in frost are breaking free, their whispers carried on subglacial currents that defy our understanding of time and history. Just this June, scientists at the IceCube Neutrino Observatory, buried deep in the polar ice, detected radio pulses so strange they seem to mock the laws of physics. Signals pulsing from depths no instrument could fully probe, their rhythm suggesting not random noise but a cadence, deliberate and alien. These aren't mere anomalies, they're invitations to question everything we thought we knew about the southernmost continent. What lies beneath this thawing veil? Machines from a lost epoch, humming with intent? Echoes of a civilization that mapped the stars before the ice claimed them? Or something older, something not of this world, its presence guarded by forces that have shaped history from the shadows? These pulses, reported in hushed tones by outlets like Phys.org and the New York Post, originate from a cavity 300 miles wide, detected by NASA's GRACE satellites, a hollowed expanse beneath the ice, too vast for natural erosion, its contours hinting at ancient excavation. The signals, peaking at frequencies that defy standard particle physics, pulse every 90 seconds, a rhythm eerily aligned with seismic tremors recorded in July 2025. These tremors, detailed in Nature Geoscience, shook the East Antarctic ice sheet, revealing buried riverbeds that once flowed through a green, temperate land, their paths matching the uncanny coastlines of the Piri Reis map. This 16th century chart, drawn on gazelle skin by an Ottoman admiral, depicts Antarctica without its icy shroud, its bays and mountains mirroring subglacial topography, only confirmed by modern scans in the 1960s. How could a cartographer, centuries before satellites, know of a land locked in ice for millions of years? The map's southern edge, glowing faintly green under ultraviolet light, bears traces of minerals not native to Ottoman lands, suggesting a recycled canvas from a far older source. Perhaps a relic smuggled from the ashes of Alexandria's libraries, its secrets overwritten, yet never fully erased. The thaw accelerates, and with it, revelations that deepen the mystery. In March 2025, researchers drilling near Pine Island Glacier uncovered amber fossilized resin from trees that thrived when Antarctica was a lush paradise, millions of years before the first human footprint. This amber, reported in Euronews, held pollen grains and microscopic insects, proof of a temperate epoch when forests blanketed the continent. Yet, core samples reveal anomalies, ash layers and freshwater diatoms, suggesting brief, inexplicable thaws as recent as 6,000 years ago, far too late for natural climate shifts. These findings align with the Younger Dryas period, a sudden global freeze 12,000 years ago, marked by floods that echo in myths from Sumer to the Americas. Could these thaws signal interventions, cataclysms, or technologies that reshape the planet? Theorists like Graham Hancock, in his 2022 Netflix series Ancient Apocalypse, argue Antarctica was the heart of Atlantis, a seafaring empire displaced by a crustal shift that dragged it south, locking its wonders in ice. The evidence mounts. Satellite images from 2025's GRACE missions reveal pyramid-like structures in the Ellsworth Mountains, their 2,000-foot forms too symmetrical for wind-sculpted nunataks, their alignments echoing the Giza Plateau's cardinal precision. These pyramids, dismissed as natural in 2016's Google Earth debates, take on new weight with recent imaging. Subtle carvings, spirals, and concentric arcs etched into their faces suggest not random erosion but deliberate design, mirroring symbols found in Irish dolmens and Ethiopian stelae. These motifs, recurring across ancient cultures, hint at a shared knowledge, a code perhaps for harnessing energies we've yet to rediscover. In July 2025, a New Zealand team exploring subglacial lakes found extremophiles microbes thriving in darkness and heat within waters warmed by geothermal vents. These life forms, detailed in Schmidt Ocean Institute reports, defy modern biology, their DNA strands suggesting adaptations from an era when Antarctica bloomed. What if these organisms are remnants of a bioengineered ecosystem, crafted by a civilization that mastered life itself? The spirals on the pyramids, some speculate, could map energy flows, ley lines, or geomagnetic currents, linking sacred sites across the globe, a network silenced when the ice descended. Conspiracy whispers grow louder, weaving a darker narrative. The radio pulses, some claim, are no natural phenomenon, but signals from buried technology, perhaps remnants of Atlantis's crystalline engines, as described in Plato's ancient dialogues, or relics of a more recent shadow. The Nazi expedition of 1938 to 1939, aboard the Schwabenland, claimed New Swabia in Queen Maud Land, dropping swastika markers from seaplanes. Officially, a whaling survey, whispers persist of a hidden agenda, establishing Base 211, a subterranean fortress warmed by geothermal springs, where engineers perfected Diglok, a device blending mercury vortexes with esoteric vril energy, capable of bending gravity and time. In 2025, a leaked memo from a polar research station, shared on underground forums, describes anomalous machinery detected beneath the ice, its vibrations syncing with the June pulses. Could this be the legacy of Nazi occultists, inspired by Thule society myths of Aryan origins in polar realms, or something older, co-opted by desperate hands? The extraterrestrial angle casts an even stranger shadow. Ancient astronaut theorists, building on Erich von Däniken's work, propose Antarctica as a hub for non-human visitors who seeded human culture. The Ellsworth structures, they argue, align with constellations like Orion, visible 12,000 years ago during the Ice Age's end. Recent crop circle patterns in Argentina, mirroring these alignments, appeared overnight in 2024, their geometries echoing the Antarctic signals. Are these circles messages, etched by entities watching from beyond, signaling a reawakening as the ice retreats? The Vatican, long rumored to guard forbidden texts, may hold records of such encounters, scrolls detailing pacts or warnings from polar visitors, sealed to maintain ecclesiastical control. Elite bloodlines, tracing influence through centuries, are said to fund secret excavations, seeking crystals or devices that could unlock immortality or power beyond modern science. The 1958 Operation Argus, detonating nuclear blasts over the South Atlantic, takes on sinister undertones. Officially atmospheric tests, some claim they targeted subglacial anomalies, entrances to a hollow Earth where advanced beings or Nazi fugitives dwell. Admiral Byrd's 1947 expedition, retreating under duress, fuels this. His alleged diaries, surfacing in obscure publications, describe a flight into a verdant valley beyond the pole, meeting beings who warned of humanity's nuclear folly. These logs, dismissed as fiction, gain traction with 2025's discoveries. Warm zones under the ice, detected by thermal imaging, where compasses spin and auroras twist unnaturally. Inuit tales from Greenland, echoed in Antarctic whispers, speak of silent mouths where sound vanishes, perhaps engineered to conceal activities from prying eyes. A 2025 post on X by user at RedPill0tons revived Base 211 Tales, claiming Nazis harnessed vril for propulsion, repelling bird with saucers powered by forces not entirely human. As the thaw accelerates, so do the questions. A massive iceberg, A84, broke free in March 2025, unveiling ecosystems that thrive in impossible conditions, giant sea spiders and octopuses, per Euronews, suggesting a hidden biosphere sustained by forces we don't yet grasp. These discoveries, coupled with riverbeds and pollen, paint Antarctica not as a dead continent but a living archive, its ice a temporary seal over truths too potent for our age. The radio pulses, the pyramids, the spirals all point to a history redacted, guarded by those who shape narratives from the shadows. What knowledge lies locked in these depths? And why do certain powers strive to keep it buried? The continent breathes, its secrets surfacing with each crack, urging us to listen to the hum of a past that refuses to stay silent. In the remote fjords of Greenland, where the wind carries tales older than memory, Inuit elders gather around flickering seal oil lamps, their voices low as they recount the songs from the deep, rhythmic pulses that rise through the ice like breaths from a hidden world. These aren't mere legends passed down through generations. They're echoes of a land that refuses to stay silent, a symphony buried beneath layers of frost that, in 2025, is crescendoing into revelation. Picture the scene. A vast ice sheet, seemingly eternal, suddenly convulsing as if alive. This July, satellites from the European Space Agency captured a subglacial lake sealed for 100,000 years, erupting in a cataclysmic flood. 90 billion litres of ancient meltwater surged upward, fracturing the surface through nearly 300 feet of ice, carving craters the size of small villages, and reshaping the frozen terrain in ways that left glaciologists stunned. This wasn't a gradual melt. It was a violent awakening, heated by Earth's geothermal core and the relentless pressure above, unleashing waters that hinted at reservoirs poised to follow, potentially flooding global coastlines with warnings from a forgotten era. The flood's aftermath unveiled fragments of a verdant past, fossils emerging like ghosts from the thaw, twigs from long-extinct trees, seeds that once sprouted in temperate soils, and insects preserved in exquisite detail. These relics, analyzed in 2025 by teams from Georgia Tech and detailed in Earth.com reports, paint Greenland not as an icy wasteland but as a thriving tundra eons ago, a bridge between continents where life flourished under milder skies. The island's center, once melted entirely with greenhouse gases lower than today's levels, now signals a potential 25-foot sea level rise if patterns repeat a catastrophe encoded in the ice, as Oxford researchers noted using Sentinel data. Yet, these findings stir deeper curiosities. How did medieval Norse settlers chart landscapes unseen for millennia? 15th century maps preserved in Copenhagen depict northward flowing rivers and rune-labeled deltas branching into fish-rich basins, their faint carbon scorings suggesting copies from lost parchments. Ground-penetrating radar in the 1990s confirmed these channels buried under a mile of frost, but the precision raises questions. Did Viking explorers glimpse through veils of time, or inherit knowledge from survivors of ancient shifts? The symphony intensifies with seismic events that defy explanation. In 2025, mega tsunamis ravaged eastern fjords, triggered by landslides sending waves 200 meters high, their signals pulsing every 90 seconds for 9 days. Standing waves, saches trapped in Dixon Fjord, rocked the earth like a colossal bell, as captured in SeaTech Daily articles. These aren't isolated quakes. They're part of a chorus, with thousands of tiny tremors accelerating glacial flow in unpredictable patterns. Beneath Summit Station, a 2-kilometer-wide void expands, filled not with ice but compressed air and sediment, its symmetry too perfect for erosion alone. NASA's GRACE satellites track these cavities growing like living lungs, their edges aligning with 17th-century Dutch wreck almanacs that illustrate Greenland from below, layers of stone encasing hollows marked with tuning fork symbols. Local fishermen shun these warm spots, where mist rises in winter, compasses whirl madly, and dogs whine in refusal zones they call observation points, not for dwelling, but for remembering lost harmonies. Inuit lore weaves these anomalies into a tapestry of Hyperborea, the mythical northern utopia from Greek accounts by Herodotus and Pliny, a realm beyond the north wind, bathed in endless sunlight, where mortals communed with divine forces. Theorists place it in Greenland's ancient guise, a paradise of eternal spring before cataclysmic shifts entombed it in ice. Ancient Chinese maps from 1607 portray the island tilted, its western coast jagged with fjords labeled Madal al-Salt, gateways of sound, as if the land itself resonated in response. Geological surveys in 2025 confirm fault lines, producing harmonic tones audible for 90 seconds, chords lingering like melodies from a bygone age. Similar resonances under Antarctic ice made headlines last year, but Greenland's are deeper, more insistent, tuned perhaps to evoke something concealed, relics of a golden age continent or technology coveted by those who rewrite the past. Mysterious phenomena add layers to the intrigue. Reports of time slips in these warm spots, where explorers describe fleeting visions of lush valleys, vanishing as abruptly as they appear. One 2025 account from a New Zealand research team, shared in confidential logs, details a crew member stepping into mist and emerging disoriented, claiming glimpses of verdant landscapes teeming with unfamiliar beings. These slips echo ancient astronaut theories, suggesting extraterrestrial interventions that seeded Hyperborea as a hub for advanced life, its remnants locked beneath the sheet. Crop circle formations in northern Canada, mirroring these visions with spiral patterns, emerged overnight in 2024, their designs aligning with the island's geomagnetic anomalies codes, perhaps from watchers beyond, signaling the thaw's significance. Conspiracies swirl around the silence of official channels. Why classify GRACE data on these expanding voids, or restrict access to Thule Air Base, where auroras dance unnaturally and radar echoes spike with unexplained signatures? Whispers point to covert operations, drawing from MK Ultra's sonic experiments in the 1950s and 60s, where low-frequency hums induced altered states perhaps adapted from Greenland's natural resonances to probe hidden realms. Elite bloodlines, with ties to shadowy organizations, are rumored to oversee these sites, hoarding knowledge from Vatican-suppressed texts that describe northern utopias as extraterrestrial outposts, their technologies guarded to prevent a global awakening. Norse sagas hint at this, speaking of green valleys and abundant life, while Plato's allusions to northern paradises suggest survivors seeding civilizations in Egypt and beyond. Beneath the surface, impact craters like Hiawatha, 22 miles wide, buried under ice spark speculation of artificial origins, portals or crash sites from ancient visitors. 2021 studies mapped 6 enigmatic structures, canyons rivaling the Grand, gem-like lakes from pre-glacial times, and basins once holding water the size of Rhode Island. Fossils unearthed in 2024, seeds, twigs, insects confirm recent melts, with 2025 warnings from articles like Futurism highlighting a massive hole under Greenland, a crater swallowing light and sound, its origins baffling experts. These features tie into pole shift theories. Greenland once equatorial, its ice a recent veil from crustal displacement, as evidenced by temperate pollen and diatoms surfacing amid the thaw. The hidden symphony plays on, with radio pulses from ice depths in 2025 defying physics, possibly signals from buried tech, alien, or Atlantean. Online forums buzz with hollow Earth connections, polar openings to inner worlds, lush and advanced, explored in classified flights. Inuit elders warn of silent mouths as acoustic nulls, engineered perhaps to mask extraterrestrial alliances or relics relocated after global conflicts. As the melt quickens, ash from dormant volcanoes stirs, harbingers of revelation or ruin. Hyperborea weaves these threads, a metropolis of advanced beings, its secrets in Norse runes and Inuit songs, Plato's hints aligning with this northern cradle. Greenland's ice as a vault cracking open, its seismic hums and fossil whispers gateways to truths watched by guardians fearing their return. Classified zones and restricted flights suggest containment, powers shielding connections that could rewrite evolution. As anomalies multiply, each discovery peels layers, urging questions. What listens from below? And what melodies will emerge when the frozen silence shatters? The island's symphony invites us to attune, its notes a call to reclaim, a history veiled in frost. As the echoes of Greenland's hidden symphony fade into the vast silence of the polar night, let us pause, dear listeners, and stand still on this frozen threshold, where the air itself feels heavy with secrets yet to unfold. Imagine yourself not on a ship or beneath the ice, but alone on a windswept ridge, the stars above Greenland's jagged peaks pulsing like heartbeats in the dark. The cold bites gently at your fingertips, but there's a warmth too, a subtle vibration rising from the earth, a hum that seems to know you, to call you by a name you've forgotten. This is no ordinary silence. It's a canvas, painted with the breath of ages, where every exhale you release mingles with whispers from a time when the world was green and alive. What truths linger in this frost-kissed air, waiting for you to draw them in? What riddles does the ice murmur, daring you to listen closer? Close your eyes now, and let your breath become a bridge to the unknown. Inhale deeply, pulling in the chill of revelation, the crisp edge of a land that remembers when it bloomed under ancient suns. Feel it fill your lungs, sharp and alive, carrying fragments of pollen from forests long buried, echoes of songs sung by those who walked with gods. Hold that breath for a moment, let it linger, let it weave through your thoughts like a thread through a tapestry. What images flicker in that pause? A fleeting glimpse of a verdant valley, perhaps, or the shadow of a spiral carved in stone, pulsing with light no eye can see? Now exhale, slowly, releasing your doubts, your certainties, letting them drift into the polar wind to be carried away, leaving space for wonder. What hums beneath this frost, calling your name, inviting you to dream its secrets? This moment, this breath, is a key and invitation to attune to the frequencies that Greenland's ice has guarded for millennia. The elders speak of silent mouths, where sound vanishes, but what if these are not voids but doorways, portals, where the past waits to be heard? In 2025, as the ice cracks and rivers surge below, each tremor feels like a question, each pulse a clue. Could your breath align with these rhythms, unlocking visions of Hyperborea's eternal spring, or the fleeting shadows of beings who shaped this land before the frost? Inhale again, and imagine your breath as a note in their symphony, a single thread in a melody that spans oceans and eras. Exhale, and let your curiosity float upward, a beacon to whatever watches from the depths. The frost holds more than cold, it holds memory, encoded in vibrations too subtle for waking minds. As you breathe, ask yourself, what forgotten chord resonates within you, stirring dreams of worlds lost to time? The ice is listening, and in this quiet pause, it waits for you to answer. Off the southern tip of Japan, where the Pacific Ocean meets the East China Sea in a dance of turquoise depths and shadowy currents, a local fisherman named Kihachiro Aratake set out in 1986 on what he thought would be another routine scout for hammerhead sharks near Yonaguni Island. What he encountered instead was a formation that would challenge the very foundations of human history, a massive underwater staircase, emerging from the seabed like the remnants of a dream half remembered. Measuring over 250 feet long and 80 feet wide, this submerged structure features terraced platforms, straight trenches that cut through rock like deliberate paths, and right-angled corners that speak of precision far beyond random geological whims. Divers who followed in Aratake's wake described descending into a world where the water hums faintly, the stone surface is flat and unyielding, as if inviting footsteps from an era when the sea level was lower and civilizations thrived on what is now the ocean floor. The Yonaguni monument, as it came to be known, has sparked endless fascination since that accidental find. Initial skepticism labeled it a natural quirk, sandstone layers fractured by tectonic shifts and sculpted by relentless currents over millennia. But as explorations deepened, details emerged that complicated the narrative. Vertical shafts plunging into hidden chambers, pillars standing sentinel along what appear to be roads, and alignments that point toward celestial markers from 9600 before Common Era. In April 2025, fresh analyses from marine geologists, highlighted in reports from the New York Post and NDTV, reignited the debate with high-resolution sonar mappings and carbon dating of surrounding sediments, pushing estimates back to 12,000 years, predating Egypt's pyramids by millennia, and suggesting a level of sophistication that upends timelines of human achievement. These scans revealed pyramid-like apexes rising from the terraces, symmetrical grooves that channel water in vortex patterns, and internal spaces where acoustic tests detected resonances amplifying low-frequency hums, as if the stone were engineered to vibrate in harmony with the sea's subtle rhythms. What purpose could such a structure serve? Submerged 60 to 100 feet below the waves, some envision it as a ceremonial hub, its steps leading to rituals under starlit skies when the land was dry, the channels perhaps guiding sacred waters in patterns that mirrored the cosmos. The alignments with the Pleiades constellation during ancient equinoxes add a layer of astronomical intrigue, suggesting builders who charted the heavens with intent, their knowledge encoded in geometry that persists through the flood. Divers report a disorienting calm in these depths, where compasses falter and the water seems to pulse at 110 Hz, a frequency tied to altered states in modern studies, inducing theta waves that blur the line between wakefulness and vision. Could this be deliberate, a design to facilitate shamanic journeys or communions with forces beyond the visible? The site's proximity to the Ryukyu Islands, steeped in folklore of sea gods and lost kingdoms, fuels speculation that Yonaguni was an outpost of Mu, the legendary Pacific continent described in esoteric texts as a cradle of advanced society swallowed by rising seas at the Ice Age's end. Recent crop circle formations off Japan's coast, appearing in 2024 with spirals that echo Yonaguni's grooves, introduce an extraterrestrial whisper to the tale. These patterns, intricate and overnight, align with the monument's contours when overlaid on maps, hinting at navigation codes or messages from observers who once guided its creation. Theorists draw parallels to ancient astronaut narratives, proposing that non-human architects seeded such sites, their technologies infused into the stone to preserve knowledge through cataclysms. The spirals, recurring in the structure's layout, might represent energy conduits or dimensional markers, activating under specific celestial events. A hypothesis tested in 2025 simulations where artificial hums at 110 Hz produced visual distortions in water, as if bending light itself. What melodies do these drowned steps compose, sung to stars that have shifted since their builders gazed upward? The site's geometric perfection steps too, even for fracturing. Paths mimicking ziggurat designs from distant Mesopotamia suggests a global network, knowledge shared across oceans before barriers rose. Yet, official recognition lags, with Japan's cultural ministry funding only limited dives, their reports terse and inconclusive. Whispers circulate of governmental reluctance, perhaps to avoid confirming Yonaguni as man-made and upending established histories that place advanced civilizations later in time. Proponents like geologist Masaki Kimura point to tool marks and carved figures resembling animals, arguing for human hands, while skeptics from the University of the Ryukyus insist on natural origins. In 2025, underwater robots captured images of these anomalies in unprecedented detail, sparking frenzy on platforms like Instagram and YouTube, where users speculate on concealed chambers holding artifacts that could rewrite evolution. The site's seclusion, restricted waters, and seasonal storms limiting access fuels theories of deliberate obfuscation, as if powers prefer the monument's secrets undisturbed, their implications too disruptive for public consumption. Imagine plunging into those depths yourself, the water enveloping you like a liquid veil, your breaths measured through a regulator as the staircase materializes below. The stone feels alive under gloved hands, its surfaces etched with faint lines that catch the light from your torch, forming patterns that shift with the current. Acoustic anomalies here aren't abstract. Divers describe tones, felt in the chest, vibrations that induce a sense of timelessness, as if the monument remembers its creators and shares their whispers with those who listen. 2025's Jerusalem Post article noted alignments with Vedic diagrams, suggesting ties to submerged networks across the Indian Ocean, while WION News highlighted how these could validate Hindu chronologies over Western ones. Conspiracy circles on Reddit and X tie this to broader agendas, elites suppressing evidence of pre-flood societies to maintain control over narratives of progress, fearing a revelation that humanity's roots run deeper, intertwined with influences from the stars. The Yonaguni monument stands as a sentinel in the deep, its staircases descending into questions that pull like undercurrents. If Mu was a resonant hub, what frequencies did its people harness? And why do modern echoes persist in crop circles or unexplained hums? The Japanese government's measured approach, permitting tourist dives but stalling full excavations, hints at layers of caution, perhaps guarding knowledge that could expose non-human collaborations or technologies that defy our physics. As seas rise in 2025, eroding barriers elsewhere, Yonaguni remains a puzzle. Its submerged forms a testament to eras when the world was mapped differently, its secrets humming just beyond reach, inviting the bold to dive deeper and discover what songs these steps might yet sing to the waiting stars. Across the sun-dappled waves of the Arabian Sea, where the coast of Gujarat hides layers of forgotten glory, the ancient city of Dwarka beckons from the depths like a riddle wrapped in myth and sediment. Revered in Hindu epics as Lord Krishna's gleaming kingdom, a metropolis of 70,000 palaces forged from gold and crystal, it vanished beneath the sea following a divine curse, marking the close of an era in the Mahabharata. For centuries, this tale lingered as legend, a poetic echo of loss and renewal. But in the late 20th century, sonar surveys by India's National Institute of Ocean Technology pierced the veil, uncovering grid-like streets, stone anchors, and walls entombed in silt, dating back potentially 5,000 years or more. The intrigue escalated in 2025, when the Archaeological Survey of India launched an unprecedented underwater expedition, training diver archaeologists for a winter dig starting in October, as announced in the Hindu and other outlets. New sonar scans south of the Gomati Creek revealed structural anomalies, concentric circles, and inlaid patterns that defy medieval craftsmanship, aligning with Vedic astronomical diagrams of the nakshatra lunar mansions, but from a submerged latitude that whispers of a far older world. These findings, detailed in July 2025 by the Jerusalem Post, show anomalies like harbour-like masonry and Harappan anchors, suggesting Dwarka as part of a coastal network flooded during the Holocene sea rise. Pottery shards and bronze artifacts recovered in prior dives bear inscriptions mirroring ancient Sanskrit texts, while divers describe a subtle vibration in the platforms, tones that resonate through the body under certain currents. In March 2025, a larger team documented these submerged structures, their reports hinting at classified sections where grid patterns point toward continental shelves, as if mapping a pre-flood empire. Harry Sahota's June 2025 YouTube analysis claims Dwarka at 9,500 years old, based on Arabian Sea sediment cores, linking it to a civilization that harnessed hydrology with canals and harbours beyond primitive means. What divine curse truly sank this realm? Or was it a cataclysm veiled in lore to conceal technologies that bent water and stars to human will? The underwater archaeology. Wing's plans for a submarine service, allowing devotees to glimpse the site, stir whispers of broader implications, validating Hindu timelines that challenge Western chronologies, exposing a global heritage predating Sumeria. Venturing westward to the Caribbean's azure expanse, off Cuba's western coast, another enigma unfolds in sonar. Echoes from 2001. Rectilinear forms buried 600 meters down, resembling paved platforms, perpendicular walls, and pyramid clusters spanning over 20 square kilometers. Initially detected by Canadian and Cuban researchers, these features evoked a lost city frenzy, with 2025 articles from The Sun and Daily Mail reviving the buzz, estimating construction 6,000 years ago, older than Egypt's pyramids, when humans supposedly huddled in caves. High-resolution images show symmetrical buildings and road-like paths, leading some to label it the Cuban Atlantis. Divers and submersibles report erratic compass needles and low-frequency pulses like rhythmic cautions, while local fishermen dub one spot La Boca Silenciosa, the silent mouth, shunning it for vanishing catches and an eerie calm that smothers sound. The site's urban layout intrigues, circular depressions rimmed with triangular carvings, pointing outward like compass roses, clustered along shelves dry during the last glacial maximum. MSN and Express.co.uk in 2025, stunned with claims of sonar detecting pyramids and buildings, reshaping debates on Ice Age societies. Theories swirl. an Atlantean outpost matching Plato's descriptions, or a Mesoamerican precursor to the Maya, its precision defying ancient tools. A 2025 Medium piece explored its ties to Bermuda Triangle anomalies, where disappearances feed dimensional harvests, with time slips swallowing vessels into alternate realms. Charles Berlitz's 1974 book linked these to Atlantis's submerged crystals generating electromagnetic fields that warp reality, a notion amplified by 2025's scuba diving magazine, debating natural beach rock versus man-made harbors. Cuba's restricted waters, and U.S. embargoes limit probes, fueling suspicions of suppression. Cuba's government cites preservation, but leaks suggest elite interests in non-human biologics from polar crashes extending here. A 2025 Ancient Origins article revisited the site's sonar data, noting symmetries too perfect for geology, while Wikipedia's entry on the Cuban underwater formation describes a granite complex off Guanacabib's peninsula, thought submerged by tectonic shifts. Yet, 2025's ArchaeoNews posited it as 6,000 years old, potentially a lost city older than Giza, with builders possibly not human. The Bermuda Triangle's notorious stretch where ships and planes vanish ties in theories from rogue waves to time warps. As a 2025 Vice article claimed, an Australian scientist solved it with hexagonal clouds, but conspiracists counter with Illuminati erasures of Illa Inconu as a gateway. U.S. embargoes hiding ET debris. Dwarka and Cuba's sites converge in provocative ways. Both feature grids oriented to solstices, equinoxes, or vanished stars like the Pleiades, as if part of a resonant system etched to safeguard memory through tone. Government's hesitance, limited funding, classified dives hints at fears, proving these as stone maps would confirm Ice Age cultures with advanced knowledge, upending evolution tales. In 2025, as seas rise, what else might surface? Acoustic anomalies, hums and spirals suggest not ruins, but instruments, awaiting frequencies to unlock wisdom. The ocean reveals, one submerged secret at a time, leaving us to ponder. Are we prepared for what lies below, or will veiled powers ensure these cities stay lost, their maps redrawn in silence? Imagine tracing invisible lines across the globe, threads of stone and shadow that bind distant shores in a web, older than recorded empires, a network where submerged relics whisper to one another through currents and echoes, forming what some call the stone maps of a pre-flood world. These aren't mere ruins scattered by chance, they're nodes in a deliberate grid, oriented towards solstices, equinoxes, and constellations that have long since shifted in the night sky. From the Bahamian shallows of Bimini Road to the sun-scorched sands encircling Africa's Richat structure, and now, with 2025's revelations off Portugal's rugged coast, the connections multiply, hinting at a coordinated design that spans oceans and continents. What blueprint guided these ancient architects, and why do their patterns resurface now, as if the Earth itself is realigning to reveal a forgotten cartography? Bimini Road, discovered in 1968 off North Bimini in the Bahamas, stretches half a mile in a straight, paved pathway of massive limestone blocks, their edges beveled and fitted with a precision that defies casual erosion. Radiocarbon dates place it around 3,500 years old, but proponents argue flaws in sampling, insisting alignments with Plato's Atlantean harbors, concentric rings and canals described in ancient dialogues. In 2025, Scuba Diving Magazine and Ancient Origins revisited the site, suggesting it follows energetic ley lines, invisible conduits crisscrossing the planet, intersecting at sacred spots to amplify vibrations. Local lore speaks of the road as a threshold where divers hear low hums forming cymatic patterns in the sand, geometric shapes born from sound waves, mirroring those in laboratory experiments with frequencies at 136 Hz, the sacred Om tone. Could these hums be residual echoes of a system designed to harness Earth's Schumann resonance, powering technologies we've lost? The road's intrigue lies in its role as a hub, linking eastward to the Richat structure in Mauritania's Sahara, a colossal bullseye formation, 40 kilometers wide, with concentric rings of eroded rock that match Plato's Atlantis in scale and layout. Once dismissed as a natural dome uplifted by volcanic forces, recent satellite data from 2025, analyzed in YouTube breakdowns like those from Awful Archaeology, highlights ancient riverbeds flowing into its center, suggesting a harbor when the Sahara was green 12,000 years ago. Theorists tie this to crustal displacements, where floods from the Younger Dryas submerged coastal realms, relocating survivors who seeded Egypt and Mesopotamia with fragments of knowledge. The structure's northern mountains and eastern bay align with Atlantean descriptions, while 2025's geomagnetic surveys detect anomalies at its core, pulses that form spirals in dust during storms, as if encoding stellar maps. Online discussions on Reddit speculate these as remnants of a Tartarian empire, a supposed advanced civilization erased from history by cataclysms or deliberate redaction, their energy grids suppressed to hide free power sources. 2025 brings fresh threads to this network. Off Portugal's coast, underwater archaeologist Alexandra Monteiro identified around 250 treasure-laden shipwrecks, including a Spanish galleon with 22 tons of gold and silver, as reported in Euronews and the Jerusalem Post. But among these, anomalies emerge, structures predating the wrecks, like anomalous formations near the Algarve's Arade River, where a €3.4 million investment funds digs, revealing submerged platforms with inlaid patterns that echo Bimini's bevels. These, detailed in the Portugal News from July, include concentric circles and grooves that channel water in vortexes, producing hums audible to divers, similar to Yonaguni's resonances. Could these be Atlantean outposts, guarding western approaches to a transatlantic grid? A 2025 expedition, per underwaterarchaeologyjobs.com, trained scientific divers in Faro, uncovering carvings of spirals that align with the Pleiades, hinting at navigational aids for seafaring cultures before the seas rose. These sites cluster along ancient coastlines, their geometries a language of alignment, Bimini's path pointing toward the Richat's rings, Portugal's platforms mirroring Dwarka's grids, all oriented to celestial events. In the Caribbean, Cuba's underwater pyramids extend this web, their road-like features linking to Bimini via ley lines that theorists map using geomagnetic data, intersecting at hotspots where unexplained phenomena occur. Time slips, reported by fishermen, where horizons shimmer and echoes repeat without source. 2025's Medium and Native Stew articles revive the buzz, proposing Bimini as a cortex of time, where dimensions overlap, fueled by crystals generating fields that warp reality, as in Charles Berlitz's Bermuda Triangle theories. Crop circles near these zones, appearing in 2024 with patterns matching the Richat's bullseye, add an extraterrestrial hue messages, perhaps, from architects who designed this network, their interventions suppressed in Vatican vaults, holding pre-Christian texts. Government's reticence amplifies the mystery. Cuba restricts deep-sea access under embargoes, Portugal funds selective digs while classifying anomalies, and Bahamas tours Bimini but stalls core sampling. Whispers suggest elite agendas, bloodlines hoarding antediluvian knowledge, using these grids for modern experiments in sonic manipulation, derived from MKUltra's frequency tests. A 2025 whistleblower post on X claims, Freemasons guard the Richat as a power node, its spirals keys to free energy, redacted to maintain control. As seas rise, eroding barriers, what else might emerge? Hums creating cymatic patterns in sand or water, as 2025 lab recreations show, suggest the network isn't dormant but responsive, awaiting alignment to activate. The ocean doesn't bury, it preserves. Each site a sentence in a global grammar, inviting us to decipher its map. If Bimini, Richat, and Portugal's outposts form a stone map, what destinations do they chart? Lost continents, stellar origins, or realms beyond our perception? Elites allegedly suppress digs to control these energies, fearing a revelation that could democratize ancient wisdom. In 2025, as anomalies multiply, the network hums louder, its threads pulling us toward truths that redefine our place in the cosmos, leaving us to wonder, are we tracing a map to our past, or a blueprint for what's to come? As the stone maps of Bimini, Richat, and Portugal fade into the depths, their whispers carried away by the ocean's endless tides. Let us linger here, dear listeners, in the quiet embrace of the sea. Picture yourself not on a shore or a vessel, but suspended in the heart of the deep, weightless, where the water cradles you like a memory half forgotten. The currents pulse around you, a gentle rhythm that feels alive, as if the ocean itself is breathing, its murmurs weaving tales of sunken cities and starlit voyages. The darkness below shimmers with faint glimmers, perhaps the glow of ancient stones, or the flicker of secrets waiting to surface. What truths ripple through these waves, calling you to listen? What melodies, etched in the deep, yearn to be heard in your dreams? Let your breath sink with the sea's slow cadence. Inhale, and feel the cool rush of water's wisdom, carrying echoes of Dwarka's golden spires, Cuba's silent pyramids, and Bimini's paved paths. These are not mere ruins, but notes in a submerged symphony, their vibrations lingering in the currents like a lullaby sung by time itself. Hold that breath, and sense the weight of ages, visions of mariners charting stars now lost, their maps drawn in spirals that pulse with the Earth's own heartbeat. What shadows dance in that pause? A fleeting image of a crystal humming beneath the waves, perhaps, or a spiral carving that twists into infinity, guiding you toward realms unseen. Now exhale, letting your thoughts drift like bubbles to the surface, each one a question released into the vast unknown. What drowned melody sings to you, inviting you to follow its refrain? This ocean is no mere expanse, it's a storyteller, its depths a library of forgotten voices. In 2025, as new wrecks and anomalies surface off Portugal's coast, each discovery feels like a verse in a song the world has yet to fully hear. Could your breath, aligned with these tides, unlock a fragment of that music, a chord from Mu's lost shores or a whisper from Atlantis's drowned halls? Inhale again, and imagine yourself as part of this liquid archive, your presence a key to its next chapter. Exhale, and let curiosity rise, mingling with the sea's endless questions. What secrets does this lullaby hold, encoded in the hum of submerged stones? The waves invite you to dream deeper, to drift where the boundaries of time blur. As you rest in this aqueous silence, ask yourself, what ancient rhythm stirs within you, calling you to explore the ocean's hidden scores? The sea listens, its lullaby a gentle summons, urging you to carry its mysteries into the stillness of sleep. Deep in the labyrinthine heart of Malta, where the Dal Saflieni hypogeum descends 3 levels into the earth like a carved whisper from the Neolithic age, a single voice can shatter the boundaries of perception. Built between 4,000 and 3,500. Before Common Era, this subterranean complex, hewed from solid limestone, with nothing more than antler picks and flint tools, serves as more than a burial ground for the ancient dead. It's a sonic labyrinth, where the architecture itself seems to conspire with sound, amplifying tones that stir the mind into realms of trance and vision. In 2025, a team of independent researchers released a YouTube video on August 2, titled Malta's Underground Temple, the Hypogeum's Mystery Unveiled, showcasing fresh sonar mappings of hidden alcoves that reveal symmetries engineered for acoustic mastery, far beyond what modern replicas can achieve. The video's narrator intones over footage of echoing halls, suggesting this isn't a tomb, but a device for transcending the ordinary, where frequencies manipulate consciousness in ways that blur history and hallucination. The Oracle Room, an oval chamber on the middle level, stands as the hypogeum's enigmatic core. Its asymmetrical design creates a throat-like resonance, where a sustained note between 95 and 120 Hz, particularly in a male timbre, doesn't merely echo but intensifies, folding back on itself and propagating through connecting shafts to envelop the entire site. A 2017 study from the University of Huddersfield, led by Paul Devereaux, confirmed this Helmholtz resonator effect, peaking at 110 Hz, a frequency linked to theta brainwaves that foster deep meditation and intuition. Updated in April 2025 with a paper in the Journal of Archaeological Science, incorporating portable EEG data from volunteers, the research showed participants experiencing vivid hallucinations, swirling spirals, ancestral figures, and sensations of time dissolving, mirroring the red ochre motifs painted on the walls. One volunteer recounted feeling pulled into a current of forgotten stories, as if the chamber bridged epochs, raising questions about whether the ancients crafted this space as a portal to altered states, harnessing sound to commune with spirits, or unlock inner visions. This 110 Hz tone recurs in sacred sites worldwide, hinting at a universal acoustic wisdom passed through migrations or shared inspirations. At Stonehenge, a 2023 University of Salford study, refreshed with 2025 AI simulations, modeled the monument's soundscape in a scaled replica, revealing standing waves at this frequency that immerse those inside while isolating outsiders, creating an exclusive auditory ritual. Trevor Cox, the lead acoustician, noted in a 2025 podcast that chants or drums could induce collective trance, with the Bluestones hauled 150 miles from Wales selected for their bell-like ring when struck. Virtual reality tests in 2025 evoked emotional surges, euphoria, unease, even unexplainable tears, as if the stones unlocked latent memories. This ties into the stone tape theory, popularized in Nigel Neal's 1972 BBC play, where emotional imprints embed in rock like magnetic recordings, replaying as hauntings under vibrational triggers. A January 2025 Medium article explored residual energy in megalithic sites, proposing limestone and quartz in the Hyperborea act as natural recorders, capturing rituals or traumas to be replayed centuries later. Conspiracy undercurrents add a shadowy allure. Online threads in 2025 speculate the Hyperborea dates over 10,000 years, a survivor of pre-flood cataclysms, tuned for interdimensional contact. An August 1 post highlights 110 Hz as a sacred frequency in temples globally, implying a lost vibrational language suppressed by elites. Governments limit Hyperborea visitors to 80 daily, citing conservation, but rumors suggest it's to curb mass awakenings. A May 2025 thread links it to Vatican vaults, alleging Jesuit orders catalogued resonant artifacts during conquests to monopolize spiritual technologies. The stone tape extends this. If rocks store history, authorities might erase imprints to sanitize the past, concealing extraterrestrial influences or cataclysmic truths. Shifting sands to Jordan's rose-red canyons, Petra emerges as another testament to acoustic ingenuity, its Nabatean carved facades humming with celestial harmonies. In July 2025, the University of Jordan unveiled an archaeoacoustic survey in the Journal of Near Eastern Archaeology, using laser vibrometers to detect vibrations in the treasury facade that mimic trance-state brainwaves during solstices. The monastery, Ad-Dir, perches high, its pillars framing an open sky that completes the structure, overlooking a plaza for ancient gatherings. During winter solstice, sunlight pierces a circular aperture, aligning with Orion, a symbol of rebirth, while chants at 110 Hz sustain overtones that envelop the space. EEG readings from survey volunteers spiked in alpha waves, fostering creativity and insight, as lead researcher Dr. Fatima Al-Mansour shared in a July 20 Al Jazeera interview. The stone reshapes sound, absorbing and transforming it, tuning consciousness to cosmic events. Petra's Sikh gorge funnels winds into harmonic drafts, whistling at infrasound levels below 20 Hz, known to evoke awe or unease. A 2024 Acoustical Society of America study, supplemented in 2025, found standing waves in the canyon, potentially used by priests to summon divine presence during processions. Bedouin histories in a 2025 National Geographic feature recount singing rocks on full moons, tones that draw wildlife or calm storms. One elder described the city as breathing with the stars, remembering when gods walked its paths. Theories posit Petra as a stellar observatory, carvings mapping precession cycles, the Earth's 26,000-year wobble, with alignments to Sirius during summer solstice, encoding astronomical lore from predecessors like the Edomites. Global parallels enrich the enigma. Chavin de Huantar in Peru's tunnels produce infrasound from conch trumpets, inducing visions, as a 2025 Ancient Origins article links to Malta's chambers. Ireland's Newgrange resonates at 110 Hz during winter solstice, with 2025 University College Dublin EEG studies confirming theta spikes. Could this be prehistoric neuroscience? Chambers built to shamanic specifications. In 2025, UCLA Bioacoustics revisited Stonehenge, neural networks simulating chance modulating serotonin for bliss or terror. A July 2025 Jerusalem post on Dwarka's grids speculated similar resonances, but Malta's hypogeum remains unique, carved without metal, its spirals mirroring brainwave patterns. Hauntings reported disembodied voices. Apparitions fuel speculation, with an April 23, 2025 YouTube video claiming EVP recordings of ancient Maltese chants. Governments protect the hypogeum via UNESCO, but restricted studies hint at classified insights. A 2025 WION News on Malta's underwater temples suggests acoustic links below sea level. Conspiracy voices claim elites use these for mind control, echoing MKUltra's sonic trials. If stones store trauma, replaying it could manipulate masses or awaken abilities. Petra's water systems add mystery. Spiral motif channels creating vortex flows, amplifying sound through aqueducts. Bedouin legends of water songs during rains guide caravans or heal, captured in a May 2025 CNN travel piece, where explorers heard echoes forming ancient Arabic words in hidden chambers, as if retaining traders' voices. This echoes stone tape, quartz in sandstone recording events, replayed by vibration explaining Petra's shadowy figures in royal tombs. In Peru's Machu Picchu, the Intihuatana stone hums at equinoxes, vibrations palpable, as a 2025 Smithsonian magazine suggested Incan shamans used for prophecies. Egypt's Dendera temple zodiac ceilings pair with crypt resonances at 111 Hz, inducing temporal shifts per a 2025 Egyptian Journal of Archaeology study. What inspired this sonic architecture? Nabatean inscriptions hint at star worship, but 2025's alignments suggest interstellar knowledge, perhaps from extraterrestrial visitors, as fringe theories claim. A June 2025 Ancient Aliens episode linked Petra's harmonics to Jordan's desert UFO hotspots, lights dancing on equinox nights. Elites allegedly guard these, restricting digs to hide anti-gravity secrets in vibrations. As Petra's canyons dim and the hypogeum's echoes linger, questions cascade. Did ancients master sound like we do light, crafting spaces to transcend time? What symphonies await in uncharted depths? These vibrant stones aren't mute, they're paused compositions, beckoning us to attune and uncover realities reshaped by their melodies. Beneath the sun-scorched sands of Saqqara, south of Cairo's bustling sprawl, the Serapeum of Serapis unfolds as an underground enigma that defies the passage of millennia, a network of galleries stretching over 350 meters and housing 24 colossal granite sarcophagi, each one weighing up to 100 tons and measuring 4 meters long by 2.3 meters high, was crafted from Aswan granite and diorite stones, so unyielding they score 6 to 7 on the Mohs scale, their lids fitting with tolerances finer than a hair's breadth. Discovered in 1850 by Auguste Mariette, the site was dedicated to the sacred Apis bulls, embodiments of the god Ptah, yet no bull mummies have ever been found within these pristine vessels, prompting endless speculation about their true intent. Were they containers for divine essence, or something more arcane, resonant chambers designed to capture the Earth's subtle energies, their polished interiors humming with possibilities that echo through Egypt's veiled past? In 2025, fresh explorations illuminated this puzzle in unexpected ways. A team of independent researchers, filming in April for a YouTube series that garnered over 1 million views by May, ventured into the dim tunnels with advanced acoustic equipment, tapping the sarcophagi to elicit deep, lingering tones that reverberated like metallic sighs. One clip, demonstrating a strike at 440 Hz, the modern concert pitch A, showed the stone, responding with a hum that persisted far longer than expected, as if the granite were alive, converting vibration into an electrical charge through its piezoelectric properties. Quartz-rich and diamagnetic, these boxes generate fields under stress, a trait revisited in a March 2025 History Forum post that speculated they served as geoenergetic devices, stabilizing telluric currents during rituals that bridged the mundane and the mystical. The post, which sparked thousands of shares, queried, what was truly energized within these chambers, if not the bull's remains? Precision engineering lies at the heart of the Serapeum's allure. measurements by William Flinders Petrie in the late 1800s, re-examined in the 2025 YouTube series, reveal internal corners with radii as small as 0.5 millimeters, impossible with the copper tools of dynastic Egypt, which would deform against such hardness. A April 2025 analysis emphasized the box's mirror-like interiors, tolerances necessitating rigid vibration-damped machinery, perhaps diamond-tipped or something beyond scalar field polishing, where opposing waves smooth surfaces at the atomic level, as proposed in frequency wave theory discussions. This theory, gaining traction in 2025 threads, posits matter transformation via frequency momentum, explaining the absence of hieroglyphs inside the boxes. Not sarcophagi for the dead, but capacitors for living energies. Their blank walls are canvas for sonic imprints rather than inscriptions. Transportation baffles the mind. Quarried 500 miles away in Aswan, these monoliths were hauled across deserts, lowered into tunnels, and positioned with sub-millimeter accuracy, all without ramps or rollers leaving traces. Mainstream accounts invoke sheer manpower, but a 2025 video countered with acoustic levitation theories, drawing from Tibetan monk tales of sound-moving stones, documented in a 1939 report, and echoed in a 2025 Ancient Origins article. If true, the Serapeum's placement optimized resonance with Saqqara's pyramid fields, creating a network where tones traveled between sites, perhaps for communication or energy transfer. Nearby, the Pyramid of Sahure at Abu Sir features granite with electromagnetic traits, diamagnetic and paramagnetic, producing bell-like resonances when struck, as shown in a 2025 demonstration that suggested sonic architecture integral to Egyptian design. No less intriguing are the Serapeum's sonic anomalies. Internal memos from Egyptian archaeologists, leaked in a 2025 forum, describe low-frequency infrasound in the galleries below 20 Hz, causing vertigo, calm, or profound focus. One excavation account from June noted, the blocks weren't lifted by brute force but by field geometry, cymatic gates, and harmonic frequencies that suspended weight. Modern parallels exist. University of Bristol experiments in 2024, expanded in 2025, levitated small particles with ultrasound. Scaling to 100 tons seems mythical, yet Egyptian texts speak of words of power that moved mountains, perhaps vibrational commands tuned to the stone's natural frequencies. The site's fusion of Greco-Roman and Egyptian influences adds cultural depth. A carved tomb reflects borders dissolving in stone, but the core mystery persists in its potential as a sound memory archive. Granite's quartz crystals could store imprints, akin to the stone tape theory, where events embed like audio tapes. A June 2025 post pondered, were rituals encoded for healing or prophecy, replayed by striking the stone. Bioacoustics research from Harvard in 2025 showed sound waves altering DNA expression, mirroring possible ancient uses. The Serapeum's boxes, pristine and empty, might have held not bodies but frequencies, essences of the Apis bulls, divine vibrations preserved for eternity. Conspiracies cast long shadows over these halls. A March 2025 thread claimed elites conceal the Serapeum's piezoelectric secrets for immortality or energy dominance, linking to Vatican connections where Jesuits allegedly catalogued similar artifacts. A 2025 whistleblower speculated remnants of a pre-dynastic civilization with geophysical mastery, their knowledge fragmented to control the masses. Ancient astronaut angles surface, the box's precision suggesting extraterrestrial aid, perhaps Anunnaki engineers seeding tech that pharaohs inherited. 2025's January discovery extended Saqqara's boundaries with rock-cut tombs, their alignments humming in sync with the Serapeum, as if part of a larger sonic grid. Explorers tapping the granite in April 2025 footage evoked hums that lingered like memories, begging questions. Do these stones hold Egypt's true legacy? Not mummies, but archives of lost wisdom. The granite remembers, vibrating with gods and frequencies, a symphony of the forbidden that invites us to question if we're ready for its revelations, or if veiled powers ensure the lids stay sealed, their echoes confined to the dark. As excavations continue, each tone uncovered peels back another layer, drawing us into a world where sound shapes reality, and the Serapeum stands as a gateway to understandings that could redefine our grasp of the ancient and the arcane. High in the arid expanse of Peru's Nazca Desert, where the sun beats down on a canvas of parched earth etched with lines that have puzzled humanity for centuries, a groundbreaking revelation emerged in 2025. Using artificial intelligence to scan vast aerial imagery, researchers from Yamagata University and IBM uncovered 303 new geoglyphs, massive figures of animals, humans, and abstract shapes sprawling across the landscape, nearly doubling the known count in just 6 months. These discoveries, detailed in a September 2025 paper in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, include depictions of parrots, cats, monkeys, killer whales, and even scenes of human sacrifice, with one showing a priest holding a severed head. The AI's precision highlighted smaller, faint lines overlooked for decades, their curls and twists forming spirals that seemed to pulse with intent, as if the desert itself were a living diagram, charting not just land but the invisible currents of time and energy. What compelled ancient hands to carve these immense designs, visible only from the sky, and why do their spirals recur across the globe, binding cultures in a resonant web that defies separation by oceans or eras? The Nazca lines, first spotted from aircraft in the 1920s, stretch over 500 square kilometers, their shallow trenches 10 to 15 centimeters deep, preserving figures up to 1,200 feet long through the desert's stable climate. Created between 500 before Common Era and 500 Common Era by the Nazca people, these geoglyphs were formed by removing dark pebbles to reveal lighter soil beneath, a labor-intensive process for designs meant to be seen by gods, or perhaps pilots from above. The 2025 finds, announced in outlets like The Guardian and the Art newspaper, emphasize humanoid forms and abstract patterns near trails, suggesting ritual pathways where shamans walked, their steps syncing with cosmic events. One newly revealed spiral, coiling outward like a galactic arm, aligns with the winter solstice sunrise, casting shadows that dance in geometric harmony. This isn't mere art, it's a code, perhaps invoking water deities in a drought-prone land, or mapping ley lines, energetic meridians, theorized to grid the earth, intersecting at power spots to amplify vibrations that ancient societies harnessed for healing or prophecy. These spirals aren't unique to Nazca. They thread through human expression like a universal motif, appearing in Ireland's Boyne Valley at Newgrange, a passage tomb from 3200 before Common Era. There, triple spirals on entrance stones illuminate for 17 minutes during winter solstice, as if activating a dormant signal that draws the eye inward toward infinity. Across the Atlantic, similar coils adorn Taino rock art in the Caribbean and Puebloan petroglyphs in the American Southwest, symbolizing life cycles and cosmic forces. In China, ancient pottery bears the pattern. In Polynesia, it weaves into tattoos as a mark of ancestral connection. African petroglyphs in the Sahara, unearthed in 2025 digs reported by Archaeology magazine, show spirals clustering near water sources, while Peruvian highlands reveal them in temple floors, guiding sound through stone. This persistence across unconnected civilizations, Sumerian clay tablets from 4000 before Common Era, stamped with coils, Egyptian voids beneath Giza, mapped in 2025, radar surveys revealing spiral anomalies suggests not coincidence, but a shared lexicon, a geometric tongue encoding collective experiences that transcend spoken words. What message do these spirals convey, and how do they resonate globally? In sacred geometry, they embody expansion without end, folding realities like the universe's breath. At Malta's Hypogeum, they channel echoes peaking at 110 Hz, inducing theta states. At Petra's channels, they vortex water into amplifying hums. Brittany's Karnak stones align spirals with solstice sunrises, potentially boosting Earth's magnetic fields for ceremonies. Imagine a Nazca priest under starlight, tracing a geoglyph as chants vibrate the ground, or an Irish druid at Newgrange, the light igniting spirals to summon ancestral echoes. The motif seems to preserve not stories but sensations, rebirth, connection, awe etched to survive floods that reshaped the world. 2025's Giza voids, per Egyptian Journal of Archaeology, show spirals hinting at chambers tuned to frequencies that awaken dormant memories, while Australia's rock shelters reveal engravings anchoring oral histories, their curves guiding narratives through generations. Speculation ventures into shadowed realms. Some view spirals as maps of ley lines, connecting sites in a planetary grid where energies converge, harnessed by ancients for communication or travel. Others link them to DNA's double helix, a blueprint implanted by extraterrestrial engineers seeding culture, as ancient astronaut theorists propose. The precision across disparate lands, Nazca's desert coils mirroring Giza's crypt patterns or Tara's Irish mounds, fuels debates on a pre-flood civilization, its wisdom encoded to endure deluges, survivors dispersing to Sumer, Egypt, and beyond. Online forums in 2025 buzz with Tartaria theories, a vast empire spanning Eurasia, its spiral tech purged by globalists to fabricate history, as threads on Bright Insight channel claim. Crop circles in 2024 near Nazca, forming logarithmic spirals, appeared overnight, their designs syncing with geomagnetic pulses, suggesting messages from entities monitoring our rediscovery. Vatican archives allegedly safeguard originals, Jesuit orders cataloguing but concealing them during conquests, their symbols eyes in spirals reserved for initiates. Illuminati narratives claim these as gateways, coordinates erased to hoard mystical conduits, with Bermuda Triangle ties amplifying the curiosity, vanished craft resurfacing in alternate timelines, as Reddit conspiracies posit a dimensional harvest. The 2025 Nazca revelations, per PNAS, show geoglyphs near seismic hotspots, their spirals perhaps warnings of unstable realities, bending time where compasses fail. As questions multiply, one endures. If spirals are a language, what narrative do they unfold of cycles governing existence, memory felt rather than written? 2025's discoveries from Nazca's AI unearthed figures to Giza's voids beckon us to peel layers, revealing realities redacted, their coordinates a summons for seekers. The past isn't linear, it's coiled, patient in silence, inviting attunement to its global resonance, where each turn deepens the wonder of our shared, spiraling story. As the Nazca spirals uncoil into the desert's vast silence, drawing us ever deeper into their enigmatic embrace, let us step aside from the whirlwind of ancient lines and lingering questions, dear listeners, and enter a space of harmonic stillness, a quiet sanctuary where the world's resonances converge, not in clamor, but in the subtle art of attunement. Envision yourself not adrift or suspended, but rooted firmly in a chamber of your own making, perhaps a dimly lit room where the air hangs thick with anticipation, or an open meadow under a canopy of stars that seem to hum in unison. The stillness here is not empty, it's a canvas alive with potential, where every pause invites the universe's hidden frequencies to reveal themselves, layer by layer, like a melody unfolding in slow motion. What harmonies lie dormant in this quiet, waiting for your awareness to awaken them? What ancient chord, struck eons ago, still vibrates just beyond the edge of hearing, eager to share its story with those who pause to perceive? Allow your senses to settle, not through breath alone, but through a gentle expansion of presence. Extend your awareness outward, as if your thoughts were tendrils reaching into the ether, touching the invisible threads that connect Nazca's geoglyphs to Newgrange's illuminated stones, from Petra's whispering canyons to the Hypogeum's echoing halls. Feel the Earth's subtle pulse, that Schumann resonance at 7.83 Hz, weaving through your being like a bass line in an eternal composition. In this stillness, the questions arise unbidden. Could the spirals you've pondered be more than marks on stone, perhaps keys to tuning our inner worlds to these global frequencies, unlocking doors to collective insights that span civilizations? Tune your mind to that possibility, letting the quiet amplify the wonder, as if the desert winds of Nazca carry faint echoes of chants from distant temples, blending into a symphony only the attuned can discern. This harmonic stillness is a gateway, a moment where curiosity blooms in the absence of noise. Reflect on the motifs that have danced through our journey, the coils that appear in crop circles mirroring Nazca's designs, or the ley lines pulsing beneath the Richat's rings. In 2025, as AI peels back the layers of these ancient artworks, each revelation feels like a note struck in harmony with our own era's discoveries. What if this quiet attunement allows you to sense those connections personally? A faint vibration in your core that hints at lost knowledge resurfacing. Let the stillness hold you, cradling these ponderings like a secret shared between old friends, where the absence of sound becomes a presence all its own, rich with the promise of untold melodies. In this serene interlude, the world's resonance invites introspection. What frequency unlocks your inner archive, stirring visions of spirals that bridge the stars and the soul? The quiet listens, amplifying your thoughts, turning them into echoes that ripple outward, perhaps syncing with the very patterns we've explored. Allow this stillness to nourish your curiosity, a fertile ground where questions take root and grow into dreams of global symphonies yet to be fully heard. As we rest here, the harmony builds, a subtle crescendo preparing us for the revelations ahead, where the past's vibrations meet our present wonder in perfect, timeless accord. In the flickering glow of a Venetian workshop in 1681, Giacomo Bellini hunched over his latest folio, his quill scratching across parchment that mapped the Adriatic coast with meticulous detail. But hidden within the binding was an insert, a golden annotated sheet showing no familiar kingdoms, only arcs curving beneath known lands, labeled the lays of the vault. Within days, Bellini vanished without trace, his studio ransacked, apprentices silenced, and the insert spirited away. A lone court scribe's note survived, map withdrawn on order, two aligned for comfort. Bellini's disappearance wasn't an isolated tragedy. It marked a pattern etched across centuries, where mapmakers who dared chart the unchartable cycles of time, mutable realms, or vaults beneath our feet, were erased as swiftly as the lands they revealed. Who orchestrated these vanishings, and what forbidden truths did their drawings threaten? Truths that demanded such meticulous silencing. The trail leads to Lisbon in 1719, where Portuguese navigator João de Ouro returned from the Azores with a chart overlaid in dotted lines, forming a 9-pointed spiral over open sea. Each point pinpointed shipwrecks recurring across a century, not haphazard but patterned, as if the ocean folded in predictable rhythms. De Ouro's notes, concealed in a hollow compass, read, "The pattern does not predict disaster, it marks recurrence." Exiled and forgotten, his spiral hinted at temporal echoes or magnetic instabilities that empires couldn't afford to acknowledge, lest explorers stumble into realms where history looped unpredictably. This wasn't error, it was insight too volatile for maritime powers solidifying their grasp on the world. By 1742 in Prague, a Jesuit observatory cellar yielded a circular manuscript, continents nested around a darkened core labeled mutatio, ringed by lunar phases, an Enochian script, and angelic alphabet from occult traditions. The priest who found it perished soon after, found barefoot in snow with ink-stained hands clutching nothing. Fragments in restricted archives depict landmasses matching submerged Atlantic plates, a pre-shift Earth. These cartographers weren't mere draftsmen, they were visionaries, treating floods and starfalls as coordinates, their tools compasses with inverted polarities. Armillary spheres tilted 30 degrees, hinting at Earth's past orientations. A Milanese sphere from 1891, considered a hoax, rotates on an axis aligning with 24,000-year precession cycles, its shorelines snapping to drowned continents when adjusted. This systematic erasure echoes through Alexandria's libraries, where Ptolemaic mapmakers catalogued conquered charts, certain scrolls absorbed selectively and barred from scholars. A surviving fragment from 150 Common Era describes a southern continent's bays, drawn by a cartographer who vanished after. Ecclesiastical bodies, monastic scriptoria training, Jesuit mappers in isolated towers, measured stars for obsolete calendars, mapping cycles over borders. When their works blended myth with measurement, oblivion followed. Enter the Hollow Earth hypothesis, popularized by John Cleves Sims in the 19th century. Earth as a shell, with polar openings to inner realms, lush and illuminated by an internal Sunday. Admiral Richard Byrd's 1926 and 1947 flights fueled this, his purported diaries describing verdant valleys beyond the South Pole, encounters with advanced beings warning of humanity's path. Byrd's Antarctic maps, showing warm zones, were classified. His death in 1957, amid suppression rumors. 2025 declassified memos from polar stations, leaked on dark websites, mention anomalous hollows under Greenland, echoing Norse depictions of unfrozen interiors. Cartographers like those drawing Terra Australis Incognita in the 16th century hinted at southern voids. Their works redacted. Freemasons and Illuminati are accused of hoarding these. The Piri Reis maps survival anomalous amid many lost. A 1508 Spanish advisor's letter excluded Antilia not for inaccuracy but no maritime utility. Code for suppressing sanctuary islands, perhaps hollow earth access points. Jesuit-linked mappers in Prague disappeared when revealing too much. Beneath Cairo in 1923, excavations uncovered a tiled chamber with slate tablets bearing grids and arcs labelled in tones. Fourth breath, rising pitch. No script, only resonance, a map of vibration, not place. These preserved patterns, believing Earth's memory and frequency over ink. Official history deems them mystics, yet similarities spirals, harmonic nodes, inverted hemispheres defy chance. What if they mapped the unmappable, reaching truths requiring removal to preserve our reality's illusion? In Milan, a brass and bone globe from 1891 depicts displaced continents and a ringed South Pole, its equinox shadows forming Fibonacci spirals. A 1962 physicist notes, "This is not a globe, it is a key." Coptic monastery spheres chart tilted heavens from 12,000 years ago, when maps supposedly didn't exist. Vatican geography chambers hold reverse-inked scrolls from 1039 before Common Era, showing mirrored Earth. Perhaps memory migration maps beginning with spirals to Vault Zero. Al-Azhar Mosque in Cairo guards another layer. Manuscripts in weathered goat leather, scripted in Kufic, diagramming resonant spirals from blackened dots, linking Ubar, the Arabian Atlantis of the sands, to Tanis's forsaken pharaoh capital. Titled Tartib al-Saturday Walbait, they plot sacred sites on unseen paths, as if Earth hums a concealed tune. Digitized in July 2025 by Egyptian scholars, the spirals match seismic hotspots and acoustic oddities worldwide, a blueprint for stone spirit dialogues. Ubar's ruins, hinted at by 1990 satellites, fall along an arc where sound lingers unnaturally. Nazca's inner chamber hums at 110 Hz, forming standing waves like heat haze. Sumerian tablets from 4000 before Common Era stamp identical coils, paths of divine breath guiding prophecy. Siberian shamanic charms, buried with Bronze Age nomads, etch spirals echoing Al-Azhar, their curves aiding trances where drums summon core spirits. A 2025 Altai Mountains expedition, per archaeology forums, found cave paintings aligning with magnetic anomalies, compasses spinning, ground rumbling low. This global network tunes not to latitude but frequency, spirals as antennas syncing consciousness to planetary beats. Chavin de Huantar in Peru, from 1200, before Common Era, twists galleries like Al-Azhar curls, conch trumpets producing infrasound for visions. 2025 AI-enhanced simulations show floor spirals, creating sound vortexes, drawing energy inward like held breath. Pilgrims walked these, steps harmonizing with Earth's hum, blurring memory and prophecy. Al-Azhar places Chavin on a sweeping curve, linking to Egypt's Dendera, where zodiac ceilings hide crypts resonating at 111 Hz, disrupting time perception. Volunteers in tests, reporting past lives flashes. Why spirals? In geometry, they embody growth folding back, like cosmic breath. Cultures without contact, Sumer scripting clay, Indians carving temples, Siberians etching bone-marked power places with them. Perhaps ley lines, conduits intersecting sacred sites to amplify vibration, as 2025 Arabian surveys near Ubar detected pulses along paths, humming like thunder. Theorists speculate a communication grid, spirals tuning humanity to cycles disrupted by quakes or flares, explaining Tanis's abandonment, resonances turning chaotic. Conspiracies deepen. Al-Azhar maps as forbidden atlas fragments, guarded by orders knowing sound as weapon or key. Illuminati whispers, claim spirals encode DNA activations, left by extraterrestrial architects for cosmic upgrades. 2025 online sleuths linked to Vatican, suppress texts describing spirals as secret houses, frequency unlocking hidden realms. If sacred sites are nodes, modern disruptions, dams, mining could sabotage, severing collective memory ties. Tibet's caves guide retreats with spirals recalibrating the body, echoing Al-Azhar. A 2025 traveler's account describes an ear-shaped chamber where silence amplifies inner thoughts into whispers. Ohio's Serpent Mound uncoils logarithmically, aligning with equinoxes and lunar standstills. GPS plots from surveys place it on the map's curve, earthworks humming in storms as if alive. The Al-Azhar collection disturbs. Studying them, some report euphoria or headaches, spirals seeming to move, breathing. What if these aren't charts but living diagrams? Geometry holding memory and vibration. Sacred sites as sentences in alignment grammar, waiting for our frequency to match. Lost cities, Ubar. Tanis along paths, silenced when tones grew loud. As 2025's digitization unveils layers, the maps invite, attuned to Earth's spiral breath, rediscover the forgotten not places, but resonance binding us. These vanished cartographers succeeded too deeply, their cycles and arcs threatening linearity. Their erasure ensured illusion, but artifacts remain. Compasses, spheres, tablets whispering vibrational memory. What if revealing risks unraveling the present? Guardians persist, but traces linger, inviting questions. What maps await rediscovery in their silence, and who ensures forbidden knowledge stays charted only in shadows? In the quiet recesses of forgotten archives, where dust motes dance like spectral guardians over yellowed pages, a single thread pulls all our enigmas together, the awakening of eternal memory, a force that slumbers not in books or bones, but in the very pulse of the earth itself. It's a memory that doesn't fade with time. It waits, coiled in spirals, humming through stones, ready to stir when the world's rhythms align once more. Consider how the Piri Reis maps ice-free coasts whisper of Atlantis's green heart, or how Greenland's thawing voids echo Hyperborea's lost paradise, each a fragment of a greater whole, a collective recall that 2025's discoveries are coaxing into the light. As glaciers crack and seas rise, these revelations feel less like coincidences and more like a deliberate unveiling, as if the planet is remembering its own story, urging us to join the chorus before the final notes play out. This awakening isn't abstract, it's tangible, woven into the fabric of sites we've explored. The Colossi of Memnon, those quartzite giants along the Nile, once sang at dawn with a flute-like lament, their voices silenced by Roman repairs in 200 Common Era. Greek travelers flocked to hear what they believed was Memnon mourning his son, but accounts from Strabo and Pausanias describe it as a harp string snapping, oracular and varying in pitch, perhaps responding to solar warmth, expanding fissures, or engineered channels harnessing heat for auditory illusions. In 2025, sonic mapping from the University of Cairo replicated faint hums at 260 Hz, a frequency evoking emotional depths, hinting at Nabatean or Egyptian designs for divine communion. Similarly, Cappadocia's Blind Church, a raw volcanic cavity with no windows or icons, extends in 2025 radar scans into ear-shaped tunnels spiraling deeper, where silence presses like a living entity. Visitors emerge altered, speaking of a hush that tests the soul, where whispers dissolve and footsteps vanish, perhaps a memory theatre for early Christians, or a Hittite relic, attuning the mind to subterranean frequencies. These places converge on a profound truth. Memory endures as vibration, not narrative. The Serapeum's granite boxes, empty of bulls but humming at 440 Hz, might have stored essences through piezoelectric charges, replaying rituals like stone tapes. Petra's canyons, singing with solstice winds, amplify human consciousness to stellar beats, while the Hypergeum's 110 Hz unlocks theta dreams, replaying Neolithic echoes. Nazca's spirals, expanded in 2025's AI finds, curl as cosmic maps, their global kin in Newgrange or Giza, encoding shared wisdom, a language of resonance binding Sumer to Siberia. What if this network, from Yonaguni's staircases humming underwater to Dwarka's Vedic grids, forms a symphony where each site is a note, awakening when frequencies match? 2025 amplifies this. Antarctic radio pulses defy physics, perhaps calls from buried tech, Greenland's lake bursts reveal temperate fossils, signaling pole shifts. Cuba's pyramids and Bimini's road link ley lines in dimensional webs. Crop circles mirroring these patterns suggest watchers beyond, their messages syncing with the thaw. Conspiracies weave in. Elites, bloodlines tracing to ancient orders hoard this, using MK Ultra-derived sonics for control, suppressing Tartaria's resonant bells, or Vatican texts on angelic alphabets. Freemasons guard spirals as free energy keys. Illuminati redact maps to maintain linearity, fearing a collective surge where humanity recalls its stellar origins or extraterrestrial pacts. The grand synthesis emerges. Atlantis, Hyperborea, Mu, as harmonic hubs, their fall a veil over truths elites preserve. 2025's thaws signal revelation, subglacial rivers surging, submerged grids surfacing, statues murmuring in labs. This isn't end, it's rebirth. Memory as empowerment, spirals inviting inward journeys to reclaim what's ours. What if we're on the cusp? Our attunement unlocking the eternal. The past beckons, its echoes a call to awaken, reshaping our reality in harmonious light. And so, dear listeners, as the shadows of night deepen and the world quiets to a gentle hush, we arrive at the end of our grand voyage through the mysteries that pulse beneath the Earth's surface, woven into its stones, its seas, and its silences. The journey has carried us from the frozen chaos of Antarctica, where disc-shaped crafts once defied Admiral Byrd's armada and 2025's radio pulses hint at buried machines, to Greenland's subglacial torrents, erupting with fossils of a verdant Hyperborea that challenges time itself. We've descended into the turquoise depths off Yonaguni, where staircases hum with ancient frequencies, and trace the golden grids of Dwarka, whispering of Krishna's lost kingdom. From the resonant chambers of Malta's Hypergeum, where 110 Hz unlocks visions of spiraling ancestors, to Petra's canyons, singing in harmony with Orion's light. We've heard the Earth's heartbeat in the Serapeum's granite sarcophagi and Nazca's desert coils. We've followed vanished cartographers, their forbidden maps erased by unseen hands, and stood in the stillness of Cappadocia's blind church, where silence tests the soul. Each thread spirals, hums, submerged cities, and silenced voices weaves a tapestry not of endings, but of awakenings, a symphony of eternal echoes that refuses to fade. These echoes are no mere relics, they are invitations, resonating through the ages to stir something deep within us. The Piri Reis map, charting an ice-free Antarctica, speaks of Atlantis not as myth, but as memory. Its green coasts, preserved in gazelle skin lines, drawn from sources older than empires. Greenland's thawing voids, pulsing with Inuit songs and Norse runes, recall Hyperborea's eternal spring, a paradise lost to cataclysmic shifts, yet surfacing in 2025's fossils and floods. Yonaguni's staircases and Cuba's pyramids, aligned with stars vanished 12,000 years ago, suggest a global network of stone maps, their ley lines humming with energies that defy our physics. The Hypogeum's vibrations, Petra's winds, and the Serapeum's silent sarcophagi amplify this chorus, their frequencies 110, 440 Hz, unlocking theta states and ancestral whispers, as if the stones themselves remember rituals we've forgotten. Nazca's spirals, expanded by 2025's AI discoveries, coil across continents, from Newgrange to Giza, encoding a geometric language that binds humanity's collective unconscious. Yet, shadows linger over this symphony. Why were cartographers like Giacomo Bellini and Joan Dioro erased, their maps of cycles and vaults spirited away? Why do governments restrict dives at Yonaguni, classify Greenland's void data, or limit Hypogeum access? Conspiracies whisper of elites' bloodlines tracing to ancient orders, perhaps Freemasons or Illuminati hoarding this knowledge, their power rooted in suppressing truths that could awaken us all. The Vatican's rumored archives, filled with scrolls of angelic alphabets and extraterrestrial pacts, may hold keys to these resonances, guarded to maintain a linear history that denies our deeper origins. Crop circles in 2024, mirroring Nazca's spirals or Antarctic pulses, suggest watchers from beyond, their messages coded in fields as if urging us to recall. MK Ultra's sonic experiments, Tartaria's erased bells, and the silent songs of Memnon's colossi point to a concerted effort to mute the Earth's harmonic memory, keeping humanity tuned to a narrower band, blind to the full spectrum of our inheritance. But memory doesn't die. It slumbers, coiled like those spirals, patient in the silence of submerged grids, or the stillness of Cappadocia's ear-shaped chambers. 2025's revelations. Antarctic ecosystems thriving in impossible warmth, Greenland's rivers surging with ancient pollen, Portugal's drowned platforms echoing Bimini's ley lines, are not random. They're signals of a world reawakening. The ice cracks, the seas yield, and the stones hum, each discovery a note in a melody that's been playing since the stars aligned over Mu's lost shores. This is no mere history. It's a call to attunement, an invitation to listen until the past returns, not as narrative but as presence, vibrating in our bones, our dreams, our very breath. Imagine standing at this threshold, where the eternal echoes converge. The spirals of Nazca swirl in your mind, their curves a map to realms where time loops and realities intersect. The Hypergeum's hum resonates in your chest, unlocking visions of priests who chanted under forgotten skies. The Serapeum's granite pulses with a warmth that feels like truth, while Petra's winds whisper of gods who walked with mortals. These are not distant relics, they are alive, their frequencies waiting for us to match their pitch, to join the symphony that binds Atlantis to Hyperborea, Mu to the Richat's rings. What if we're on the cusp of hearing it fully, our collective awakening triggered by these resonances? The elites, be they ancient priests, modern guardians, or unseen forces, have long known this. Their redactions a desperate bid to keep us from the power of our own memory. Yet, as 2025's thaws accelerate, the veil thins, and the Earth itself seems to urge us forward, its secrets no longer buried but rising, ready to be reclaimed. This is our exploration's heart. Dear listeners, not a journey to distant lands, but a descent into the depths within and around us. Dim your lights, let the soft hum of a fan or the quiet of your room become your canvas, and allow these questions to drift you into dreams where the erased maps redraw themselves. Seek the spirals in your wanderings, the hums in quiet moments. Attune your ear to the Earth's subtle song. The past doesn't end, it resonates. Its echoes are summons to those who dare to listen. What truths will you uncover in the stillness? What melodies will you carry into the night? The eternal echoes beckon, their harmony a promise of worlds waiting to be remembered, if only we can find the courage to hear. So, as we conclude this chapter, let the mysteries cradle you into slumber. If these tales have stirred your soul, as they have mine, join us at Mystery History for Sleep. By subscribing, let's keep these whispers alive together. Turn on that notification bell for a soft reminder of our next adventure, and share your thoughts below. What echoes do you hear in your quiet moments? Until we meet again, this is Mr. H, wishing you restful dreams filled with the harmonies of forgotten worlds. Good night.